podcast never felt this great. Tables, ladders, chairs, they tell it all. From the highest highs to the lowest fall. Great and glory tales from the ring. Every chant, every cheer they'll bring. Devon and the Duke bring the heat. Wrestling tales knock you off your seat. Tune in now, don't you be late. Wrestling podcast never felt this great.
Happy New Year, brothers and sisters, and welcome back. Welcome back to the Devon and the Duke podcast. This is a limited edition series hosted by your main man, Duke Loves Rasslin, and the five-time Hall of Famer, one of the greatest of all time, and now the YouTube sensation himself, Brother Devon Dudley. How's it going there, Devon?
Good. How you doing?
I am fantastic, man. Listen, you did it. You done broke YouTube. You made your official relaunch of your YouTube channel. Everyone is talking about it. You got your subscriptions through the roof. Congratulations, brother.
Thank you. It's something I never saw coming because I'm not a YouTube guy. I'm not a social media guy. So I don't know nothing about this stuff. And I'm just learning as time goes on. So it's also one of those things where, when these guys are telling me, oh, you hit this number or you hit that number in terms of subscription, I'm like, okay. Meanwhile, they're ecstatic about it. I'm just like, okay, because I don't know. I don't know the big deal and everything. So I'm just learning as we go along. Right now, we're over 40,000 subscribers. And, again, the content that we have is it's very, very good. I'm really happy with it. The production and quality of the YouTube channel is excellent. These guys know what they're doing. The ideas that we have for the future is really, really going to be good. We have, in the next month or so, we have a big name that I'm going to have on my podcast. Probably one of the biggest names I'll ever have. And he's going to come out there and work with me on this. I'm going to his place, working with him on his. And, we're going to try to really do this. So I really want to try to get my feet wet outside of the wrestling business. And when I say that, although the YouTube channel is going to be wrestling, it's not where I have to go into work, with a company or have to be a part of a company. I just wanted to do something outside of a big wrestling company, and this is it. So thank God that everything is happening the way it is. I'm very happy and very proud of it, and thank you to the fans that are really, really supporting this.
Well, and the groundswell of support has really been building up, and even our early conversations with each other and talking about framing, who you are from a historical perspective and things like that. And you even being kind of taken aback, like, wow, that's really how y'all see me. Like, okay, yeah, I am this guy. And it's like, yeah, bro, you are that guy. You were legitimately one of the greatest of all time. You were legitimately one of the most successful wrestlers, regardless of race, regardless of gender, one of the most successful and highly decorated wrestlers in the history of the industry. So,
I don't mean to cut you off. I've always, I've heard that from people and things like that, but I've never felt that I was ever at that level. And I say that because of the lack of support from people within, and they say, well, what do you mean? They push you to the moon. It's not, yeah. But I also look at it as, when you're promoting a show, like say, for instance, Netflix last night, they said, showing doing the package that they did, introducing, WWE coming to Netflix and all the different names that they had, the things of yesterday, today, and all of that. There's no mention of the Dudleys on there. And, they, do what they want. I'm not asking for anything, but I'm just saying, I look at it as if we created history the way we say we created history and how it's been proven, then why aren't we on the same packages as the other people, or even people that were during our era who made the package, but yet we didn't. But yet we're the most successful tag team in the history of this business, and the most decorated on top of that. And we hear it all the time. You helped change my childhood. The Dudleys were great with Edge and Christian and the Hardys, and the same thing goes for Edge and Christian and the Hardys. How come they weren't on the package? We did so much for Monday Night Raw during the Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression Era. That if you're going to mention yesterday, how do you leave us out of the package? So it's things like that that I look at that makes me think otherwise. And when you hear people talk, you know, about certain things within the company, it's a shame. There's a lot of times that our names aren't mentioned in the conversation. So it kind of takes me back a little bit when I hear it from you and other people. I'm like, yes, thank you. But from people like in the office and things like that, don't really get it as much.
And that's a shame, and it's a mistake because we can't deny the reaction from the fans. And again, from the very first moment that you and I did our thing with each other, the amount of support that you received, it's like, yeah, bro, they love you. And then it just keeps building and it keeps building. Your social media, like your Instagram and what have you, you always get love on there. Uh, Anything having to do with ECW and the Dudley Boys are mentioned, what have you. But people love you. People love the brand, the Dudley Boys. People love the brand, Devon Dudley, and getting to know the man behind all of that. People are digging that as well. So it's interesting to see how you continue to diversify your portfolio, and now with this YouTube channel, this is like the culmination of all of that, where it's like,
Well,
yeah, I hope you see it now. If you didn't see it before, I hope you see it now.
I mean, I do, and I've said this countless times in interviews that I just felt like Bubba and I never really got our just due. Um, but with this YouTube channel, I want to do things other than make it just wrestling. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I'm not putting wrestling on it because, of course, I'm going to do that. But I want people to know me as an individual, family man, things like that. I want them to be able to see clippings of me with the kids and, doing things like that, or me even disciplining or, getting on them, or just, you know, them following me to church or whatever function that's going on. I want to be able to do that. So, no, I don't have USA, I don't have Oxygen or anybody else major network following me around with a camera. But here's the deal: I can do my own. With this YouTube channel, where whatever content that I want to be put out there, I can have it put out there, and I don't have to worry about it. So, you know, I want to make this YouTube channel different than what some of the other YouTube channels are. I just want to be able to show more outside the box of wrestling.
That's fair. That's fair. And there are so many other layers to you, which, we scratch the surface here on Devon and the Duke, getting you to really open up and talk about that stuff, which, again, that's what the fans love. They love hearing about the family man, and they love hearing about the coach, the person who's passing down knowledge, because that's exactly what you do. Once you start telling your stories, you always find a way to bring it back to life lessons. So again, with the YouTube channel, to see it is going to be a whole nother level. And so far, so great. And it's only going to continue to grow. But one of my favorite parts about the whole thing is that you revealed the fact that you studied communications in school. And my goodness, brother, it's like you done went back in time, and you are now leading with those communication skills on a whole new level in 2025, and the fans are eating it up. That right there is really beautiful to see, and I'm very proud of you about that, man.
Oh, thank you. I mean, again, it's and then plus when I had my podcast Table Talk, that kind of helped me as well. Kind of helped me break the ice. Although I had done many a podcast and many a radio stations, interviews, and things like that, but to have something of your own and to be able to try different things and make it work, that helped a lot. And being on the show with you helped me a lot. So any opportunity that I get can lead me to where I'm trying to get to.
It absolutely has, and you're proving it. You're proving it, and that's the best part about it. You're taking pieces from all these stops and you're putting it together for this big puzzle. And again, the fans are eating it up. So folks, you do not want to miss. You got to head over to YouTube. You got to subscribe. Okay. It's free to subscribe. Devon Dudley's YouTube channel. It's just Devon Dudley, right?
Just Devon Dudley, D-VON.
D-VON. You got to check it out. Hit the subscribe button so that way you don't miss any of the great things that are coming out. And of course, you know, the Mr. Handsome himself, the teacher, the baseball player, the tough enough guy, Maven. You know, you and Maven out there telling old war stories, so to speak, which
Yeah, that
every
bitch.
Thursday, right? You and Maven are over here being Starsky and Hutch over here. So every Thursday, you fellas are going to be dropping something new on that channel, right?
Yes, pretty much. I mean, I'm going to be going on his, he's going to be going on mine. And we also came up with an idea of, even though my life story has somewhat been told in pieces, I asked him, I told him I wanted to do it on the YouTube channel where I can put as much as I want to put out there, you know, and let the people really get to know where I came from and what I've done to get to where I need to be.
I love it. That's basically, you're going to write your book, but you're doing it in video form. That's basically what you're going to do, right?
Exactly.
I
That's
love it.
exactly what I'm doing.
I love it. I love it, man. And again, folks, you got to check it out. It is really fun to watch, really fun to see. Devon is such an engaging, interesting guy with so many different interests. You can't put him in a box. He's too diverse. He's and judging by the way that fans react to him, we know this. You know, so it's a really cool watch beyond wrestling, life lessons and things like that on the Devon Dudley YouTube channel and beyond. You know, you got the YouTube channel, you got the car detailing business. Let's plug that one more time there. The detailing business.
Yes, 3D auto detailing is great. We'll come to you. You know, we start off in Fort Lauderdale. We'll go to Miami, but we'll go as far as Daytona.
And folks, we've been telling you, if you're serious about pursuing your dreams of becoming the next superstar in the pro wrestling world, then you definitely want to check out Devon Academy. And, you know, the upcoming class that we have now, you got a whole bunch of students, brother. You're going to have to clone yourself, Devon. You got so many people wanting to be part of the academy there. Congratulations on that. It's still going strong, right?
Yeah, it's still going strong. And you know, wrestling schools that can stick it out through the hard times will tell you one day you're on a high and next thing you know, you're on a low. In other words, you'll have a group of fluctuating kids coming in and wanting to join the school. And then things will start to die off a little bit and a few months down the line. Then it starts to get a little rough. And then all of a sudden it picks right back up again. But it's like any business, you know, you have its ups and it has its downs. And right now we're on and
Absolutely.
up.
I was going to say, right now, you all the way up, brother. So
Oh, yeah.
you folks got to get in on this now because, again, it's right down the street from the Performance Center too, right?
Yep, absolutely. I mean, as far as I know, yes. And what I mean by that is, I know there was lingering talks about them moving to Vegas. I had heard that. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not, but I could have sworn I heard that they were even thinking about moving to Vegas. And I was like, damn, I can't push the fact that we're right down the block from, you know, NXT anymore. But they haven't made that move yet, so I can still say that
That's
if they
right.
are going to make that move.
That's right. For the time being, for the foreseeable future, right down the street from the Performance Center. So, folks, come on, check it out, Devon Academy. You absolutely, if you're going to pursue your dreams, do it with somebody who's been there before, and more importantly, who is an understanding and compassionate educator. You know, somebody that when you hear the students talk about the training that they got from Devon, that's one of the things they always talk about. Just the fact that you're not blowing them out of the water and making them feel terrible about themselves. You legitimately care about them and you're guiding them. And that's why so many of them are so successful as a result. So it's great stuff, man. It's all positive stuff. Kicking off the new year on the right foot. I love it. You know, speaking of which, and you brought it up a few moments ago, WWE RAW is officially on Netflix. They had their kickoff show, and Big man, I got to tell you, I felt nostalgia. I felt it almost felt like an old school WrestleMania. Just the excitement, the electricity. I love the way that they shot it. So the camera angles and all that good stuff there. I love the fact that they didn't insult anybody's intelligence. The Rock was calling out executives and giving them a shout out, and he thanked Cody Rhodes and stuff like that. So he stepped out of kayfabe and really, made it known that this was a big deal, and we want to share it with everybody. The place was packed. Like it was just a feel good moment on my end, especially as a fan who's been watching my entire life. You, as a lifelong fan and as a Hall of Famer who has been on some of the most historic shows of all time, you've been at the highest level, you've been there, done that. What did you think about Raw's first episode on Netflix?
I thought it was excellent. I really did. I thought it was excellent. Exactly what you said. It had an old WrestleMania feel to it. And everything that they did was just an A+ in my opinion. It made me think too as I'm watching it, and again, I'm not taking shots at anybody, but, you know, I don't think WWE, like Tony Khan said, is what is it? What's the guy's name? Harvey Weinstein
Harvey
or
Weinstein,
Weinstein?
yeah, Weinstein,
Harvey
yeah, yeah.
Weinstein of the wrestling world, and for them to look at that production, look at that TV, look at those people in the audience. Sorry, Tony, but can't say can't say the Pepsi Cola when I look at something like that. And to see the talent, and that's the thing, not knocking AEW, but AEW has tremendous talent. And we've said that numerous times. I love those guys over there, the stuff that they do. But there's something special about the WWE. And when they do put it, the way they tell stories, their production is just a different ball game. And some of the guys who've been in WWE will tell you that. That might be in AEW or other organizations. There's nothing like WWE. And I think a lot of people thought that would leave once Vince left, but nope. Hunter's taking over right where it left off, and it's really, really doing well. I can't be more proud of those guys and very happy for all that they got going on last night. The matches were excellent. I really, really enjoyed it. I was shocked to see Roman and Sokoa first. I was shocked. But why not? Why not? I don't know. For some reason, I thought maybe we would have, them as the main event. Maybe, Punk and Seth might have been first. I don't know. But you know what? It doesn't matter. As far as I'm concerned, from the top to the bottom, everybody did a hell of a job.
They sure did. They sure did. And before I even talk about the action, because you're absolutely right, it is very difficult to compare any other wrestling promotion after you saw Raw on Netflix last night. What's the big grocery store down where you are down there in Florida? I'm talking
Publix.
upscale.
Publix.
So Publix. So I've never been to a Publix, so forgive my ignorance there, but that's the big one, right? That's the big one where they
Yes.
got everything there. Okay. Last night, WWE Raw on Netflix was Publix, and I'm sorry, folks, AEW is your corner store. You may like your corner store. You can go down there and you can pick up a soda or a beer, bag of chips. You're going to pay a couple extra bucks for it because it's a small mom and pop operation, what have you. You may have sentimental attachment to it, but it's still just a corner store. You can't compare the corner store to Publix with the best prices and the widest selection of high quality products. And you're going to get everything that you need from your shopping list. You can't compare the two. WWE last night on Netflix with Raw, they proved they're the Publix. They had a little bit of everything. They had The Undertaker show up. Triple H kicked it off. The Rock was out there for damn near 20 minutes just talking, and he had the crowd in the palm of his hands. They had a
Like he
bust-ass
always does.
match. Yeah, like he always does, exactly. They had a bust-out-ass match to kick it off, which in my opinion was the main event. It just happened to be the first match of the night. But like you said, Roman versus Sikoa, in that that tribal chief thing that they were doing in that match there. It was excellent. It was PLE WrestleMania quality. It was amazing, and it looked great. There was no production issues. It looked fantastic. And it did advance a couple of storylines because the way that The Rock was looking at Roman, you wonder, what the hell is that all about? What's he up to? Is he going to attack him right now? What is he waiting on? What's really going on? So many questions
Well,
comes out of that.
well, if it is going to be Roman and Rock WrestleMania, if it is, I'm glad they didn't have The Rock hit him.
So you think it was smart to draw it out a little bit?
Absolutely. Remember, back in the day, that's what they did. They drew it
Yeah,
out. You didn't,
yeah.
that's the problem nowadays. Everybody blows their load in one night. Why?
Good
You
point.
know, one of the stories that I love that WWF did, even though we saw it kind of coming before we got to the payoff, was Hogan and Savage.
Yeah,
The build
yeah,
up of the breaking up of the mega powers.
yeah,
We were just until when is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? And finally, at that, what was it, Friday night's main event, I think they called it, when Savage got thrown out and he fell on top of Elizabeth. Hogan gets down and leaves Savage in the ring and goes to bring Elizabeth to the back and leaves Savage with the one man gang and the big boss man. And then he comes back, and then that's where the turn happens. And
yep,
that was a buildup, from WrestleMania, what, April to what was that? So that was February of the next year.
yeah,
So
yeah. It was
that
almost
was
a
a
2 year
that,
build. Yeah,
yeah. So that's some of the things that I think wrestling is missing because the fans don't have a long attention span, but we did that to them. We forced them to not have it like that because we've given them way too much too fast instead of
yeah,
letting them wait.
yeah. I agree. I agree 100%. And some people who are purists, they're complaining about the fact that there was only a couple of matches last night, but each match was excellent. So what do you want?
Listen, Duke, I'm gonna say this: no matter they could have had 15 matches that night, and those people still would have been complaining, so it wouldn't have
Yeah,
mattered.
yeah.
It
Agreed.
would not. You can't. People are just never satisfied.
Agreed.
You don't appreciate what you got until it's gone.
Yep. Yep. What did you think about all the advertisements on the mat? I mean, I know we've been seeing it, especially with Prime and stuff like that. But Jesus, there was at least 3 different ads on the mat, which is a far cry from the Vince McMahon era of WWF and WWE. What are your thoughts on all those ads that were on the mat?
Well, it's no different than UFC. UFC does the same thing.
Hmm.
And it's ironic that the UFC bought the WWE. So that's one. Boxing does the same thing. And even baseball to some degree does that, with all the advertisement, whether it's on the wall and outfield or it's over by the diamond, it doesn't matter. They're making money. They are advertising. It's the smart thing to do, if you ask me.
I agree. I agree. That's untapped opportunities there, and you better take every single one of them that you can get because that's fresh money. And I think people miss the point that TKO Sports, they got to recoup that investment. They spent
Hmm.
$9 billion buying WWE. They got to get some of that money back as soon as they possibly can. You
You don't
know,
think they got it back already?
I think they're pretty close at this point. Absolutely, I think they're pretty close. I think they are because the opening up of so many new revenue streams. Look at in all the different sports leagues, the major professional sports leagues. Now they have their own WWE belts, but the belts don't say WWE on it. It has the logo of the sports team. I think that's brilliant marketing. Brilliant. You know what I mean? You can get a
Absolutely.
New York Yankees World Heavyweight Championship. That's crazy to me. So it's like I think that's brilliant marketing, but that's that Nick Khan and that group and what have you understanding how to make a buck and taking a look at the again the mom and pop aspect of what the company used to be and really mainstreaming it on a whole other level. It's incredible, man. So again, how do you compare a WWE to anything else? They're Disney World. You can't compare anything to Disney World. It's friggin' Disney World. Like, you can't get bigger than that. So it's
You really
amazing.
can't.
No, you can't. And I want to bring something else up too, as it relates to into a very good friend of yours in The Rock. The movie Red One, which was a holiday movie that came out. They released it in theaters for a short amount of time. It did a certain amount at the box office, which was way less than what the budget for the movie was. I think it did like a third of what the budget was. That's how much money they recouped the first week it was released in the movie theaters. And a lot of the folks out there, the dirt sheets, they were talking trash. Oh, The Rock, he bombed, and this is terrible. And, he's supposed to be a big movie star. He bombed at the box office and blah, blah, blah. But then something happened. The movie was released on Prime, Amazon Prime, which is actually the original place that the movie was developed with. And it ended up becoming the biggest movie in the history of Amazon Prime. And then the folks from Prime explained their marketing strategy. They said that, hey, we never needed the movies. So we were trying to figure out how to get the word out about this movie because we knew people would be home and they would watch it on Prime anyway. So we debuted it in the movie theaters and put it out there for a couple of weeks just as an advertisement. But we got our advertising money back. So it didn't even cost us anything to put it in the movie theaters, just to let everybody, make them aware that this movie exists. So then when we put it on the streaming service, Amazon Prime Video, that's when people tuned in, and it not only did it make all its money back, but it made a huge profit. What are your thoughts on that whole concept of The Rock constantly finding ways to be successful on levels that people don't even see coming?
Well, again, that just goes to prove to you that the team that he has behind him, his way of thinking and how he is excellent. It's gold. It's money. You know, when you look at the story of how he came up in the business on that series, what is it? Prime? Is it Prime? The Rock story, I think.
Oh,
You know which one I'm talking about?
are you talking about on what his show that he had on Young Rock that he had on NBC?
Yes,
Which one are
Young
you talking?
Rock. When
Young
you
Rock.
Young Rock, when you see how he grew up, because he tells his story, which is great. You see how he grew up, things like that, and then you see interviews that he's done where he tells, his upbringing and things like that, his education. Rock is not a dumb man. I mean, the man is probably on his way to becoming a billionaire. I mean, he's doing the right thing and not giving two fucks about to anybody what they think. And you know what? That's the way it should be, because not everybody's going to like you, not everybody's going to agree with you. Even when you do everything perfect, they're still going to find ways to find something wrong with you. So therefore, Rock is doing a great job in just not caring, just doing what he has to do. If the critics want to badmouth the movie, but before it comes out and before the people, lays judgment on it, then let them. And that just proves right then and there that The Rock knew what he was doing and got involved with that particular movie. But here's the deal: his team helped out tremendously as well. So he's got some good people around him. And that's the one thing I always was told, that as long as you have people in your inner circle that are around you that are good, then you'll be good. The minute you have flaky people around you is when things go south. And that's where you make mistakes.
That's a fact because I don't care who you are in life, you can't do it by yourself. So
No.
understanding how to get the right pieces around you who have the same morals and the same work ethic and what have you, it can change your life. And certainly The Rock is a prime example of that. Hell, Devon Dudley, you're a prime example of that, the way things are going right now. Jesus, you know what I mean? It's a whole new world out there. So it's really cool to see. And I just tip my hat to that guy because who would have ever thought Rocky Maivia would turn
Yep.
into this? You know what I mean? Unbelievable, man. And for the record, I watched the movie over the holidays, read one, and it legitimately was fantastic. I loved it. It's a holiday movie. It's a family holiday movie. It's about Santa Claus and saving Christmas and all that good stuff there. For what it was, I appreciated it, and I was more than happy to see it and surprised, quite frankly, especially considering the way people try to crap on it. It was a very good movie, and for those who actually watched it, they all were saying the same thing. So take that for what it's worth. I'll tell you.
Again, you can't
One,
please everybody all the time.
well, you certainly can. And speaking of which, on the first Raw on Netflix, WWE brought back Hulk Hogan, one of the biggest names the biggest name. Let's call it what it is, the biggest name in the history of pro wrestling. Um, and WWE signed a deal with Hogan and his Real American Beer Company, where not only is WWE going to be advertising, and I think they're actually going to be selling in some way, shape, or form Real American Beer, but they also have a minority ownership stake in the company as well. So they have equity in that company. So they're going to want to make this company do well. There was a whole backlash with Budweiser for diversifying, and some people didn't like that. They don't want you to be, sharing with everybody else. I guess Budweiser to them was supposed to be the redneck macho beer. So, and unfortunately, Budweiser they took a hit. Let's call it what it is. They took a hit because the average kid is not drinking Budweiser unless they're playing beer pong in college. They want something fruity and all that other nonsense. They don't want a regular Bud or Bud Light. So unfortunately, it did hurt Budweiser, Anheuser-Busch, at least in the short term. So there was an opportunity there, and somebody has to fill that gap, which is why Hogan and his team came up with their own beer line and then aligned himself with Trump and that whole situation, and then Trump becoming, president-elect once again. So there's a whole lot of energy behind this product. So WWE, not being foolish, they see dollar signs. Like, okay, let's make some money here. So they align with that. They bring Hogan out last night, but then Hogan gets damn near booed out of the building. So
Wow, I never saw that coming.
that's
I
my
mean,
question to you. Are you surprised?
yes and no, because he had been getting booze. He'd been getting booze here and there when he made appearances a couple of times on WWE TV that I've seen. So I didn't think it was going to be as loud as it was. I mean, that was really, I was like, wow. Now, again, what is this for? Is it because of the issue that took place almost 10 plus years ago with the whole racial incident? Or is there something else that he's getting booed for? So I'm not really sure why um, people are hating on him so much. But again, I'll say it again. It could stem from the whole racist comment that he made that was on video, and people just still haven't, forgotten about it. You would think that over time, people would tend to forget, or you would think that, people would say, oh, well, time went by, so, forgive and forget. But there are some people out there, even within the locker room, that says that they felt like he never really apologized. He made excuses of why he had said what he said. I don't know, but this is what I was hearing when I was there as a producer from some of the talent that was there. And again, a lot of them were, you know, they weren't white. They were a lot of them were black and Spanish. They just weren't feeling Hogan anymore. So I mean, that could be it. I mean, it could have been it stemmed from the racial thing because I don't think it had anything to do with wrestling.
I I can speak on behalf of fans and not just myself, but doing this podcast and it being within the time period where all this stuff happened. I do have some insight on what people are saying. Now, I want to preface this comment with the fact that we are in a bubble. We're wrestling fans. Pro wrestling is a niche. So we're in a bubble, folks. Just because we know the ins and outs and we feel a certain way about certain things and we know all this stuff, that doesn't mean that the general public does. So I want to make sure we're clear on that as I say this. Hogan being videotaped, saying what he said, and not knowing he was being videotaped. So I want to make sure we're clear on that because he won a lawsuit about that. He was videotaped without his consent, but saying the N word and saying he hates N words and he would never let his daughter date one and all this other stuff. And literally it said, I'm a racist. He literally said that about himself. That was a problem. And the issue is Hogan, up to this day, has never truly done the big interview or done the big article where he has apologized in detail and acknowledged that he understands what he did wrong, and that although people are not ever going to fully forget, hopefully over time we can move forward with each other because whatever. We all were Hulkamaniacs when we were kids. Let's call it what it is. We love Hulk Hogan. He's a part of our childhood. So that's why it hurts so bad
Right.
to hear him say that he hates us, literally. You know what I mean? Now he did make small apologies. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, but then he starts with the excuses. I was under a lot of stress and this and that and this, and it's like you're under a lot of stress and it turns you into a racist. Come on, bro, that doesn't make sense. So I think that the hard feelings really stem from the fact that the man has never put his foot down hard and done a full, complete apology in detail. He's never done it. He's danced around it. He's done something that can seem like it comes close to it, but he's never hit the mark. And that's what people have not let go of. Now, with that said, the Hulk Hogan brand is stronger today than it's ever been. From a financial standpoint, he can't miss. Why is that? Because the general public does not remember, and in most cases, they didn't even know about the whole racism thing. So that's why, despite the fact that he did all that and went through all that, he's still a brand that is worth doing business with. So what do you do with that? If you're, and I want to ask you this directly here, Devon, where do you draw the line where you have a fiduciary duty to make as much money as possible if you're a publicly traded company? So you got to make money for your investors. Where do you draw the line where it's all about business, but then it's, well, we got to also worry about people's feelings and we don't want to insult people and we got to pick a side, et cetera, et cetera. Where is the line on stuff like that from a business perspective? Where do you think it should be for major corporate, not just WWE, but any major business?
Well, again, if you get caught in a compromised position like that, it's one of those things where you made your bed, you lie in it, and the public feels like you said, he has not made a truthful, tearful apology for what he had said. And like you said, we were all Hulkamaniacs, the ones that were born during that era that watched wrestling and did what we did. So, a lot of us idolized the man. I was one of them. So it did hurt me when I heard the comments that were made. And, it was hard to believe because, I actually believed in what he said. Say your prayers, eat your vitamins, and train. And one day you can grow up to be like a big Hulkster, big Hulkamaniac. I believed in all that stuff as a kid. So to hear that come out of his mouth was kind of hurtful. You know, Again, was there a public tearful apology for it? I don't remember. I don't think there was, and I think that's what the people are angry about and still angry about because you can't make excuses for saying something like that. And again, how many people in corporate world have lost their sponsorships or lost everything because they've said things like that? I just don't feel like there's any place in business for stuff like that. And I mean, again, this is not the good old boy, days. It's a totally different era now. Now you say things like that or do things like that, you pay the consequences. That's what it all boils down to.
Yeah, and I think that he's never going to be completely forgiven until he does that thing. And it needs to be genuine. And I just want to make sure I'm clear on this. I grew up saying my prayers before I even knew what it meant to say my prayers. I grew up eating vitamins and not even knowing why I'm eating vitamins. I made sure my mom had, she would get the Hulk Hogan vitamins, the Flintstone vitamins, and I was eating them suckers, bro, without even understanding why. But I was doing it because Hulk Hogan told me to do it, and that was my hero. To hear that man say that he hates me because of my race, and he hates all of us who look like me because of our race, is a degree of trauma that I haven't even heard properly articulated in most places. It's devastating. And I think that I'm not certain that Hulk even understands how devastating it is for those of us who are on the receiving end of that. And I like to believe that if he did understand that, he would cut the crap and he would actually make a real apology in detail and what have you. So Hulk, the door is open, bro. I don't care where you do it. You know what I mean? You could do it here on Devon the Duke. You could do it on Devon's YouTube channel, which would be even greater. You could do it on your own. I don't care. But bro, we want that apology from you, and for your legacy and for our well-being as fans who grew up idolizing you, who still love you. You're a piece of our childhood. It matters, bro. It really does. And to the WWE, any nudge that you can give him in that regard would be helpful for all, including you from a financial and business standpoint, because if you keep bringing this guy out and he keeps getting booed out of the building, at what point do those boos start turning into people not wanting to show up anymore? And I think that that's a fine line that you're walking with something like that. We got to tie those loose ends up, man. That's my opinion on it, and I'm going to stick to it. Um, but I love the fact, Devon, that you admitted that you were a Hulkamaniac as well, because it's funny to hear you say that, considering the fact that you worked side by side with the man once you became a wrestler.
Right. I mean, the leg drop I did, which I think, throughout my career, every match I did was dedicated to Hogan, because I was such a big fan of his. So I wanted to do the leg drop just like him. Although I did feel like I got up a lot higher than he did. But
Listen, that's the reason why you got to do DDP yoga now. You missed the leg drop.
Exactly. Let me tell you, if I would have listened to him years ago when I first met him about doing that damn leg drop, maybe I wouldn't be in the compromised position that I am with this damn back surgery. Jeez.
See that? Listen, here we go again. You know what I mean? Hogan, just doing a leg drop. You got Devon taking his own back out just to pay homage, man. Come on, bro. I think you could do that apology, Hulk. Come on. I don't care where you do it. Come on, Hulk. We want to forgive you. That's the craziest part about it. We want to. What you see, the vigor, the boos, the online comments, that's just people being hurt.
Now, let me ask you a question. I haven't read them, but is it bad?
It's bad, bro. There's a straight up F Hulk Hogan sentiment because he hasn't given that real apology, and even like you said, even internally, people who when he was coming back around the company and he was talking behind the scenes to people, and I'm not going to say any names, but some folks, they did say after the fact, all he did was focus on be careful what you do because somebody could be videotaping you, and he was focused on that as opposed to saying, he atones and he's really, really sorry and all that other good stuff. And that's why they had a problem with it. People who you know very personally and who are great friends of yours, and I'm sure they expressed those sentiments directly to you. So it's a real thing across the board, man. And it's not something that can't be fixed. And that's the craziest part to me. I feel like I don't care who you are in life and where you are in life. If you have an opportunity to fix things, just do it. Just do it. Pride got to go away at some point, man. Life's too short. Fix it, please. Move forward. Peace. As often as you can find it, please. Here I'm sounding like you now, Rev. I got to watch myself now. Sounding like you. Anyway, Devon, what's the best way everyone can keep up with you? We'll end on that note. What's the best way people keep up with you, brother?
Yeah, well, you got my Instagram handle, which is Testify Devon. And of course, Testify Devon on Twitter. You reach me there. And now you can keep up with me on YouTube at Devon Dudley. So, I'm all over the place now. Thank God.
all over the place. And the best part about it is, listen, all of you promoters out there who are doing it the right way, especially with these conventions, you know what I'm talking about, doing it the right way. You're not out there, ripping off fans and ripping off the wrestlers and stuff, but you actually are reputable. If you have something coming up this year and Devon has the time, if the price is right, if the business is right, if the fans are excited about it, it's time to do some business, man. Reach out to the big man and get him at your event. It is incredible to hear from fans who meet this guy live and the wonderful things that they say, because Devon is such an engaging, wonderful person, not just to listen to or to watch wrestle, but to meet. So definitely reach out to the big man here. Get him at your convention. You definitely want him there. All of your speaking engagements, live events, and what have you. Cigar bars, reach out to Devon. He has his own line of cigars that's in development right now with the Natura company. You may want to have him come out and do some kind of live meet and greet there as well. It's early. Get these things in now before his calendar fills up. That's my soapbox moment there. Of course, with me, Duke Loves Rasslin on Facebook, on Twitter, dukelovesrasslin@gmail.com. Let me know what you think of the show. Any comments, feelings, polls, you got it. You know we're going to talk about it. In fact, real quick, we have a young fan who just turned 8 years old by the name of Sky. How about we give a birthday shout out to Sky?
Sky, how you doing, man? It's Devon Dudley, and I just want to say happy birthday and many more. I'm not sure how old you are.
8 years old.
8 years old. Wow. I remember when I was 8. No, I don't. I'm lying. But I just want to say happy birthday, buddy. Many, many more. And I hope you got everything that your heart desired on your birthday.
I love it. I love it. Now, the favorite part, our word of the week. What do you have to take us home here, big man?
All right. So today's reminder, nothing kills you faster than your own mind. Be calm. Don't stress over things that are out of your control. Rather, lean on the trust of God.
Testify.
My brother.
Strictly for the culture every day. Step in style in your unique way. Patterns and colors so divine. All about the perfect line. Be yourself, let your spirit fly. In this fashion, you'll touch the sky. Strictly for the culture, brand so fine. Dress to impress and show your shine. Strictly for the culture, every day. Step in style in your unique way.
Visit www.strictlyfortheculture.ca.
Backstage whispers and the crowds roar. From matching giants to legends of yore. Devon's wisdom and Duke's keen view. Every episode feels like it's brand new. Devon and the Duke bring the heat. Wrestling tales knock you off your seat. Tune in now, don't you be late. Wrestling podcast never